Good day, and welcome back to one and all present here in the second day of Faculty Development Program on Field Hockey organized by IQAC and Department of Physical Education of Sri Shankarlal Sundarbai Shashun Jain College for Women in collaboration with Hockey Unit of Tamil Nadu. Before the session, I would like to give some instruction to the participants. The assignment link will be posted at the end of this session in YouTube chat box and also in WhatsApp group. The participants are requested to fill and submit the assignment form within 30 minutes after the session gets over. If you have any doubt during this session, you can post your questions in the YouTube chat box or WhatsApp group. It would be answered by the resource person. Thank you.
Hello.
Sir, please start the session, sir.
Okay, thank
Yes,
you very much. Thank you very much.
yes,
All
sir.
right, once again, okay. Hello, everybody. Good evening to all. Hello. Hello, good evening to all once again. Yesterday we had a little bit briefing on what are the roles of the judges and what will be their contribution to the game uh, during every match. Okay. All right. To oversee the judges and their working and to ensure that the match is played or is conducted in a very professional manner as per the latest rules and regulations of the FIH. We have a technical officer who will be appointed for every match. Okay. The normally the judges and the technical officers are none other than a part of the tournament officials, or they are called the technical officials. All right. Among the technical officials, we have the judges and technical officer. All right. So for every match, as I already informed you, there will be two judges plus a technical officer who will oversee all the activities of the technical aspect to conduct a match. All right. The basic thing about technical officers is has the overall control of the conduct of the match as per the regulations. Okay, so the technical officers are mostly posted for a tournament by the district, state, or the national federations. Okay, and for each match we have one technical officer who will be posted by the appointed by the TD during the tournament. Okay, right. So on receiving the appointment for a tournament, the main purpose is, or the first job, let's make it in simple manner, that is the first job will be to contact the TD and inform the TD about the arrival at the venue for the tournament. Okay, mostly the technical officers posted will be more experienced than sometimes the judges, uh, and so hence the TD will be looking forward to getting some of the crucial works done by the technical officer. So it's better always a technical officer takes the advice of the TD for the conduct of the matches. Okay. So duties upon arrival. So as I said, prior to coming to the tournament and on receiving the appointment order for the tournament, the first thing he has to do is contact the TD and inform him about his travel plans when his arrival, and take advice from the TD about what type of help or what type of assistance he could be before arriving to the pitch, before arriving to the venue. Okay, the TD might assign some tasks to the technical officers. Suppose if he's a local technical officer, then maybe he will try to get information from him about the accommodation, the place of accommodation, and what will be the ground conditions, and what will be the watering system, how will be the floodlight the working of the floodlights, and maybe sometimes he might ask the TO what will be the distance from the accommodation to the pitch and the weather condition. So all these will be some of the things that TD will be looking for from a TO. Okay, right. So upon arriving at the tournament, what will be the immediate thing is the TD will be arriving. Mostly he should be arriving well in advance at the venue for the tournament. So on arriving at the tournament, the technical officer should contact the TD and inform the TD about his room number and ask, and also interchange or exchange the room number of the TD. Okay. Suppose if the TD has any allocation of duties for him, so it's better for the TO to ask for himself if any allocations are there to be done. Okay. Then checking of the fields and equipments. All right. At his request, maybe the TD might request the TO, although the TD might have done the field check and equipment check and other facilities, but still, as a TO, if he is requested, he should go over to the field of play and then check the field of play and then the required technical equipments and the facilities. All right. This is all just to make double sure. Okay. Then any specific task assigned by the TD must be done by the TO, and also report immediately to him about the status of the duty. Like in the sense, suppose if he had been assigned a job, so it is not that he will do the job, but he'll also come back and report to the TD to inform that it has been done, or the status is whether it is done or not done, or it is halfway through, something like that. All right. Then you need to have a copy of the match schedule. So it may not have been ready in some of the, you see some of the knockout tournaments where the teams may not have confirmed their participation. Then the organizing secretary will definitely uh, will not be able to provide you with the match schedule. So on arrival for a tournament, it is always first thing is try to get a copy of the match schedule. Then you need to have a copy of the tournament regulations, the latest tournament regulations, which will be implemented during the tournament, and other related issues which you think needs to be done, like transportation to the pitch, or let's say uh, what will be the distance from the accommodation to the pitch, and what will be the seating arrangements there at the stadium for the technical, the umpires and judges, and what other facilities will be required. Okay. Then the most important is, as I said, it's mandatory for unlike the judges, that you must the technical officers must attend the pre-tournament briefing meeting. Okay. And as I already informed you earlier, this will be normally done a day before the start of the tournament. All right. Okay. So the once we know that everything is in place with regards to the completion of the pre-tournament check meetings, where all the equipments are checked and the entry forms are collected from the teams. Uh, the completed entry forms in the sense with all details of the goalkeepers, number of goalkeepers, the numbers of the team players, the team manager, the coach, the physio, the doctor, if any. So all these details will be there. Okay. the most important is that when we will be coming back to the entry form again once again. So we need to be very careful in checking that. As technical officers, we need to be very, very careful to note that any players who's been suspended by the federation or still under suspension should not be finding a place in the entry form. So this is a very important job of a technical officer. All right. Okay. So before departure to the pitch from the hotel, so you need to have some of your personal things. It is the same like for the judges, how they have to prepare. It is the same, but this as a TO being a responsible tournament official or a important person for conduct of the match, you need to have the same procedures or follow the same procedures as the judges. Inform the team, your technical team, about the time you're going to leave the stadium, going to leave the hotel to the stadium, and try to be there at least 30 minutes before, so that you can oversee the any shortcomings for the conduct of the match. Okay. So as I told you, the personal equipment should include the stickering, stopwatch, the whistle, apart from the pen, pencil, and scribbling pads. Okay, then the protective gear, clothing for depending on the weather. If it's cold, then you'll have to have your warm clothing together, and then if it's going to be rainy, and then you should need to have your wind cheater, and of course, if it's going to be hot, then you need to have your glass. Okay. Now the important thing about yesterday, as like I told you yesterday, was taking the official transport. It's always better to take the official transport from the hotel to the venue. Yeah, if you were a local and then and if there's any shortage of transport vehicle, then you may be traveling on your own. But make sure that you advise the transport in charge, or you advise your TD that you are leaving, and then you will be there in the pitch in so and so time. Okay. So as a TO, you have to ensure that the other match officials, that is, and umpires are also ready to leave as a team. Okay. So you need to be a bit proactive when you're making the schedule of leaving to the stadium from the hotel. Okay. Right. This is a very important aspect for a technical officer, or that is duties upon arrival at the venue and prior to start of the match. Which means it's nothing but it's called match preparation. Okay, so the match preparation normally we take it like it starts once your appointment sheet or appointment is handed over to you. Okay, so then there in the appointment sheet. We will always be looking for the team colors, who are your umpires, who are your judges, and then who are the teams playing. All that. Okay. So on arrival at the venue, you first immediately inform the TD that you have arrived, and always as technical officers, please make sure that you inspect the field of play. All right. So it could be the same pitch where you were there the last year, or you were there a couple of weeks back, but it's always better to inspect the field of play, so that if you find any type of discrepancy or any type of shortcomings, anything which to be undone, that can be done. Because that is why we say we always request the technical officers to be there at the pitch at least 30 minutes before. Okay, so that you give time for the organizing secretary or the local groundsman or the stadium in charge to get the things rectified. All right. Most important will be that checking of the goal posts and goal nets. All right. So this could happen to any of the goal nets and goal posts. The team would have practiced in the morning, and then in the evening you come back, and if you don't check the net, and then there's a hole inside, and there's a big gap, and you have not seen it, and there's a problem in the match. All right. Another one will be, if necessary but in agreement, if the TD says that check the groundsman policy for watering. This is something which all technical officials, including judges and TOs, must be aware about the groundsman with the policy of watering. It's nothing, uh, what do you call, written about the policy of watering. It is only the timing or number of sprinklers which are going to be used during watering. How long will the watering take to water the entire pitch? All right. So maybe some pitches will have for the big cannons, which will water in 7 minutes. Some of them may take 10 minutes. Some of them may take 12 minutes. So depending on this, the watering of the pitch should be arranged. Okay. Then then check with the team manager of the team list of the players who will be on the field of play or sitting on the team bench. Okay. So on arrival, you need to check about the team list. Make sure that the team list is there with you before you or on arrival at the pitch. All right. And you taking the confidence of your judges, you have to make copies of the match report, maybe a copy of the card registration form and the injury form, and of course, if required, if it's going to be a knockout match, and a result has to be made between the match between the teams, then you need to have a shootout form with you, so that you don't have to rush in the last minute when things happen. Okay. Then confirm with your colleagues that the judges or the umpires and reserve umpires have arrived. All right. Okay. So then another as a technical officer of the match or the match director or the match manager of the match, you need to make sure that the judges posted for the matches are working as per the appointment sheet. Okay. So if the timing judge is posted, let's say if a a person is posted for timing, he should stick to that job of doing the timing, and the person may stick to job of scoring judge. Okay. And it is not that every time they will be the same, but they will be changes as posted by the TD. Okay, but you got to make sure that they do the job over it. In addition to this, the TO must make sure that the operation of the electronic clock is done by the judges whenever it is made available at the pitch. Okay. Now, uh, there are certain responsibilities with the technical officer on arrival at the venue and before the start of the match. These are very essential for a smooth contact of the match as per the latest regulations. Okay. The most important is the medical aspect. So here we need to check the availability of the medical doctor on duty, the stretcher bearers, and whereabouts the same. Okay. Sometimes if you go in certain stadiums or certain venues, if you see, the medical will be on the opposite side because the only entrance is that side, but the technical team, the team benches and the technical table is on the other side of the stadium. Okay. So at this point of time, it is the job of the technical officer to make sure that the stretcher and the stretcher bearers, the medical unit is at the closest to the technical table, or maybe you should make aware or you should know where the technical team will be located. All right. So this is and nothing but to make sure that you don't panic when something happens on the pitch and then you're searching for the medical team and then you don't know where they are. So this is very important aspect before you start a match. All right. Then normally the colors of the players' clothing are already indicated in the appointment sheet and which is shared to the team managers. It is very easy for the team managers to decide on that players' clothing colors because it's as per their declaration. Okay, so that there is no confusion when they come to the pitch and when both the teams are having the same type of colors. All right. So the technical officer should make sure that the colors of the players and the shirts owned and the color of the shirts owned by the things don't clash. All right. And then another one case of color clash will be with the ball boys. Okay. The technical officer should also make sure that the told you it even the judges will be having a look at it, that the goalkeepers are wearing a shirt of a distinctive color and with numbers at board of this is all it's a joint team effect by the judges and TOs, but the responsibility lies more with the technical officer than the judges when you have to do all this. All right. So normally in the in the state championship or maybe during the national championship, we do have the national flags, the federation flags, which must be displayed or must be on the flag post. All right. So again, we again we request or we insist on the technical officer to have the table equipment to check the table equipment. Uh, Although it may have been done, this is just to double check about the stopwatches, the hooters, the color, the armbands, color armbands for the captains, or maybe the ribbons with the safety pins, writing pads, pens, pencils, and of course then we may in addition have the official stick rings and yeah, the templates we have the templates for checking the goalkeepers hands, protectors and pads. Okay, this why I have made it is because some of you may not be aware that about the template for the checking of the goalkeepers. This is normally done during the pre-tournament briefing meetings where the technical check is done by the TD and the tournament officials. Okay, so the TO must make sure that there are two copies of the match reports and then the shootout forms, the injury forms, and of course, then again, we need to have a copy of the uh, tournament regulations, two sets of whistles and the warning cards. Okay, this is all. As I've been telling you, it may not happen, but when it happens, then we don't have to panic. So this is all for double check. Okay. Then again, you need to check about the drinking water for the officials, for the match officials. Okay, at least if not for the teams, of course, the teams watering water, drinking water will be done by the competition manager or by the groundsman. All right. Then the balls, you need to make the required number of balls, upload match balls, and then you have a spare ball at the okay. Double check with the stopwatches which you have at the technical table and the clock. Suppose if you have the scoreboard clock, make sure or make a trial to check if the clock is working. Okay, always make sure to check the clock, and if there is any problem, we can even inform the organizers that the clock has failed, so something needs to be done. So then you are double sure that you don't have to be delaying the match. That's most important. All right, and also check the hooter, the working of the hooter. All right, yeah. So then before the match, you need to provide the appointment, the captain's bands to the teams, if not a ribbon to be worn red. Okay, okay. This question of forbidding practicing on the field of play before the match is normally they will not be any practice unless and until there is only one pitch, and just before the match you see other teams practicing, uh, which may have been permitted, but this is all agreed upon during the pre-tournament briefing meeting. The TD might say that okay, you permit them half an hour or 45 minutes before the scheduled match, so because they don't have a practice pitch or something like that. But normally it is not done. But we always insist that there should not be any practicing on the field of play before the match. The two reasons is it could delay the warm up of the teams for the match, and moreover, that could be some type of material damage to the equipment on the pitch. Okay. Yeah. Right. So now we say before the start of the match, what do you need to do? There are some tournaments where you might have the chief guest coming for every match. So, and normally this is a protocol done by the organizing secretary. It will be informed in advance, but you need to make sure from the organizing secretary through the TD that if there is any protocol for that. So, in case there's a protocol of that, you have to manage your start time at least 5 to 7 minutes before. Okay. So if required, then you may need to call or inform the umpires to line up the teams on the sideline so that you can roll them inside to start the introduction procedure and then start the match. All right. But this is a very proactive activity to be done by the TO, especially when you don't have information. It's always better to ask the TD. Ask the TD if there's going to be any introduction, or maybe if you have any local contacts, then with the organizing secretary, they will always share with you. But if they miss it out, then you will be in trouble. So it's always better to find out whether there's going to be any chief guests coming in, so that you can plan to move the teams off from the warm up and start to line them up on the sideline to roll them into the field of play. Okay. Right. So again, after this, even before this or during this period, make sure that all the players entering the field of play are properly numbered and dressed, and their shin guards worn inside their stockings, with no blood stain and other what do you call the uh, any discrepancy in the numbers worn by the players. For example, sometimes you might see the shirt number uh, will be different from the number on the shorts. Okay, which is it doesn't it's not it doesn't look good. In the sense you're having number 7 on your shirt and then you're having number 9 on your shorts. Okay, so make sure that this is not there. You can always advise. So you need to be again, I said this is all proactive activity. You need to be well in advance to check all this. So if you see this, you can always go to the manager and tell him that, see, I found this guy with a different type of shirt number and then a different type of short number. So can something be done about it? All right. Okay. So then the most important thing for a technical officer is that he needs to start the match on time. Starting the match on time is the entire responsibility of the technical officer. All right. Okay. Now, as I told you, you have to be very, very responsible for all the happenings in the match. So you have to take stoppages of umpire signals during penalty strokes, check the number on the shirts of the players starting the match against those marked on the match or marked off on the match report. For example, if the starting 11 declared by the team manager is different from then what who are entering inside, so you need to make some corrective action so that it can be undone. Suppose if you see that the wrong player is going inside, he can be called off, and then as per the declaration of the team manager, the correct player can be moved in. All right. Okay, so here we have the worst, uh, or rather to say, tough job is a headache job, controlling the team benches. Okay, so it is a bounded duty of the technical officer to control the team benches, especially for the number of persons or permissible number of persons seated. For permissible in the sense, suppose if it is a 16-member team, then you will have 11 players on the field and only there should be 5 on the bench. Okay, not more than that. All right. And suppose if it is an 18-member team where 16 players are there and there should be 2 goalkeepers and you find only 1 goalkeeper, That's also wrong. So you need to check for the permissible number of persons to be seated on the team bench. So this permissible number of persons includes the players and the support staff, that is the team management. It should be a manager, it should be a coach, it could be a doctor, and it could be a physio, or it could be a doctor or a physio. Okay, any of them. But most important is a team manager is a must for a team to participate in a match. All right. So if there is no team manager, there cannot be a team cannot be playing. In the sense, the reason why is whatever happens, or for all reasons, the team manager is responsible for the behavior of the team outside the field of play. Okay. Even if a team doesn't have a coach, no issue. But and if there's no doctor, no physio, okay, no problem. But a team must have a team manager. So this is it's a top priority to say that a team without a team manager will not be permitted to play. So make sure that the team manager is there, because your point of communication to the team bench is the team manager. Okay, as a team manager, as a technical officer, we cannot be communicating with anybody else other than the team manager. All right. So whatever happens, you need to entire responsibility on the team manager, whether it will be the coach, whether it will be the doctor or the physio or the players who are creating the nuisance, have to be brought under control by the team manager. So control of the team benches for the permissible number of persons seated, and also for preventing vocal communication directly at the technical officials seated at the table, umpires, and players of the opposing team. All right. Here again, there we need the technical officer needs to be little bit using his head to say that yeah, the coach can communicate to his own players. He can give instructions to his own players uh, from the team bench, as far as it is not disturbing. In the sense, the communication is for or to help his team players play as per his instructions. Okay, but his vocal communication or use of bad language should not be against the technical officials or empires, and even against the players of the opposing team. Either let it be on the team bench or on the field of play. Okay. Yeah, so unauthorized entry. Most of the fields do have their uh, their fencing put up so that they don't permit anybody inside other than the umpires, the field players, the team managers, coaches, doctors, physios, and then the technical officials, the tournament officials of the match. All right. So, but in some places, we they will not be having the fencing around the pitch to keep off them. But then you might have to be very careful to prevent any unauthorized person entering into the playing arena or the field of play. Okay. Yes. Again, the most important will be the control of the player substitution. Yes, it is the topmost priority of the technical officer to ensure that the proper substitution takes place. Okay. Although this lies or this depends upon the team manager who is responsible for the player substitution, proper player substitution. It is the TO on duty who will ensure that the player's substitution takes in a proper manner. For example, if a player is coming out, the player going in shall wait till the player has come out entirely. Okay. And then the required parameter for substitution, the area of substitution, 3 meters from the center line on both sides is from where the players should substitute themselves. Okay. So as a TO, you have to be sure that these players only interchange into the field of play as per the required standard area. Okay. So Here we need to insist that no player will be going to the field of play until the player who is going to be substituted has come out of the field of play. Let me stress a little bit on this to make sure that if you find a player who is repeatedly uh, creating an offense or misusing this substitution procedure by entering into the field of play before the player can come out. Okay, the best thing to do is maybe you have seen him do it once, maybe you have seen him do it, seen the same player do it twice, or some other player do it of the same team. Then the best thing is to go and approach the team manager and just have a small talk with him and tell him that yes, I've seen this player, your team players entering the field of play even before the players who are going to be substituted are coming out. So this word of caution to the team manager will always keep him alert, and he might talk to the players, or inform the players that this should not be done. The reason why what happens is, suppose the player who is supposed to be coming out does not has still not come out, and the player who is substituting goes inside, so the required number of players will be more than the actual. So this is a very serious offense on the part of the team. So wherein the technical officer will be totally responsible. Okay. So this is normally how it is managed. We don't, as a technical officer, we just cannot go and talk to the players and command him or shout at him and tell him that no, you don't enter the field of play. Wait for the players to come. Okay, but because the players will already be heated and they may not like it, so it's better you approach the team manager and give a caution to him and tell him that please refrain from tell your players to refrain from doing this because it's going to cause a necessary problem of having 12 players on the field of play. Okay, so then again we have the injury. Okay, so no player with injury causing bleeding, so no player with a bleeding injury should be entering the field of play unless he has properly his dressing has been done and there is no blood stain clothing before he enters the field of play. Okay, this should be made sure by the technical officer. If at all if you find anything like that, yes, you can stop the player from going inside. At this point of time, you can step in and say sorry, you have to go and get yourself dressed. I see that the bleeding that the injury is still bleeding and you cannot enter the field of play. This is where you need to put your foot and say that you cannot enter the field of play, and draw the attention of the team manager and advise him that please get this guy uh, properly bandaged before he enters the field of play. Okay, so that aspect is the player substitutions, as I told, is a very important thing. All right. Okay, let me stress a little bit on the suspended player who is sitting on a sin bin, and when he has to move in soon after his suspension is completed. It is the entire control of the technical officer to ensure that the suspended player, maybe with 2 minutes for a green card, maybe 5 to 7 minutes for an yellow card, has completed his suspension time before he is put back into play. Okay. So why I need to tell you this is it's an understanding between the judges and TOs. Normally, when they find the suspended players have been starting to sit on the sin bin and their time starts, the suspension time starts. Okay. Uh, it is if it is agreed that the suspension, the first two suspensions of each team will be looked after by the judges, and if the TO is fine and happy, he can let them do it. All right, because the TO, as a TO, he has other jobs to do, mainly controlling the team benches and looking over overlooking activities on the field of play for off the ball situations. Otherwise, The TO can also have a look at this or take charge of the suspended player. Okay, but make sure as a TO that the suspension starts only after the player starts to sit on the team bench. All right. Once the suspension is completed, then he may permit them to play, permit them to enter the field of play, or may permit them to go back to the team benches, and some other player can enter the field of play. Okay. If some other player is going to enter the field of play, it is always better to keep the player standing next to the sin bin uh, and wait till the completion of the suspension. All right. So this is a little bit of management issue, which it's not that hard to do, but as you practice, it will be easier. All right. Okay. So again, then countdown time. Okay. After completion of the countdown time, make sure that the hooter is blown for the break time. That is the end of the first quarter, the half time, the end of third quarter, and full time. Okay. Uh, This again is an agreed activity between the judges and TOs, but it is the responsibility falls on the technical officer to ensure that the matches, uh, the half time, the full time, and the quarters, the half time and the full time, or the hooter is blown. Okay, so the timings control, although is with the judges, the responsibility falls on the technical officer. Right. So then again, stopping the match for every signal by the umpires. All right. For example, during the PCs, there is a break of time. The sense if PC is awarded, time is stopped for 40 seconds to permit the players to play with their defending players to put on the protective equipment like uh, the face mask, the kneecaps, etc. Okay, so the umpire may not give you a signal for a stop time during PC or after award of a PC, but as a technical officer and a judge, you must be aware that if a PC is awarded, you need to stop the time for 40 seconds, restart with the signal of the from the umpire. Okay, so this is one aspect the technical officer should make sure to coordinate with the umpires. All right. Yeah. Now that again, halftime. The duties of the halftime. It is a 70 minutes job for the technical officer. So halftime he doesn't get rest. He needs to. He's got an activity to do, like if watering is required on a on an artificial pitch, so he needs to get it done. Okay. This in coordination with the umpires, if he can ask the umpires and let them know let him know if the watering is required, then maybe we can arrange for watering of the pitch at the halftime. But this is only if required. And if it's a water based sand based pitch, it may not require, but then some of the pitches, and it depends on the weather also. If it's too hot, then definitely you'll need halftime watering. And in normal conditions where the weather is chill and you find a lot of the atmosphere is good, then you need not have watering, but you need to supervise the halftime watering of the field. Okay. Yeah. Then we have this thing of players leaving the sticks and goalkeepers, their hand protectors, and the team bench if required. This is actually decided during the pre-tournament meeting with the by the TD, and he will inform you if this needs to be done. Okay. What happens is this is a reason. The reason why is the changing rooms may be in the other end, and the technical benches and the team benches, technical table in the team benches may be in the other end. So at that point of time, when players want to go to the changing room, uh, some of the TDs insist that they leave the sticks and gear at the inside the field of play before going to the changing room. Okay, it could differ from tournament to tournament and depending on technical delegate. Okay, so again, the sounding of the hooter at halftime, at full time, is very important, same as the halftime procedure, and then you need to click the clock time in case of protest. Okay, let me little bit stress on this completion of the full time and why we need to keep the not the clock time in case of protest. Okay, so the in case there's a protest and then the team manager wants to make a protest, so we should know the what is the time limit permitted for the team manager to protest. Okay, and if he does protest beyond the required time, then it will not be entertained. So to just to keep track of that, it's always better to note the clock time when the match was completed. Suppose the match was completed at 6:10, at 18:10. So then you need to note that yes, match was completed at 18:10. So then the mandatory time required by the team manager to protest, and if he does that in that required time, then the protest will be taken. And if it's not done, so for this you need to have to keep a note of the clock time in normal circumstances and in a tense match or in a evenly played match. Okay, then most mostly deal we have seen many a times when there is a issue with the team management. Okay, so I would like to just share with you certain things of how to deal with the team manager. Okay, a good technical officer is one who listens and one who cares for the teams. In the sense, you need to have a good rapport with the team managers. The most important will be how you deal with the team managers, right? So your rapport or your relationship with the team managers starts even before the match starts. Like you just go and greet him and wishing him all the best. He just let him inform you if he needs anything to be done during the matches off the field, or he needs some assistance for his physio, something like that, to keep him in good books. All right. Yeah, but at the same time, although you are very approachable, you need to be approachable, in fact. So you just cannot shoo away the team manager by saying that no, I cannot help you, I don't want to listen to you or something. You need to give a lending ear to him, to let him express himself of what the problem is, of course, but not on the umpiring issues. And even if in spite of that, if there is a problem with the team manager with you about the umpiring issues, you can always tell him that please can we discuss this with the umpires manager or with the TD after the game, which will be more beneficial to the teams and to the umpires also. Okay, so whenever you find a team manager, or let's say a team coach or a physio, making noise at the empire's decision and trying to distract the empires, or make some comments on the empire's decisions, we always need, as technical officers, we always need to approach the team manager at any point of time. In case there is an issue with the players at the team bench, we always have to take care to advise the team manager to help you, to inform the concerned person to refrain from doing such things. The reason why is, as in the tournament regulations, it's very clear that the team manager shall be responsible for the behavior of the players on and off the field. Okay, so the entire control of the match, since it's with the technical officer, and the only contact person will be the team manager. Never ever go to a team coach or a team physio or to any player as such and try to advise him. And you need to be very calm, approachable, and do it with a smile. You may get back the same thing. Okay, yeah, but if it is going to go a little bit beyond that, and you think it's going to getting out of control, then you need to change your body language, not your tone, not your tone, or not use any abusive language. You need to change your body language and make sure that the message has been received by the team manager with regards to what you want to say. Okay, so that aspect is very important. Being a match manager or a match director, your responsibility lies to conduct the match in a smooth and efficient manner within the rules of the or within the rules and regulations of the game. Okay, for this you have to be very proactive, use common sense, a smiling face. At the same time, you have to be stern in taking action against the defaulting person. It's very important. It's not that easy as said, but you will experience it in some part of your hockey career when you're working as a team. Yeah, but it's fun, but you'll also enjoy it at the same time. All right. Okay. So then we have the other roles which you need to work when you're working as a TO. All right. So what is the role of the TO in the shootout competition? Okay. So during the knockout matches or the qualification classification matches, the match has to be decided to say which team moves to the next level. Or suppose if it is the semi-final, if which team goes the final, or if it is the final and which team is going to be the winner of the tournament. All right. So to confirm that, then in case of a draw during the regular time, or if there is a draw in 4 quarters, then the shootout competition is taken into decide the winner of the match. Okay. So as a TO, you need to ensure to start the shootout as soon as possible within 4 minutes after from this after completion of the regular time. You have to do your management aspect very well in this to move in the players, the stroke takers, and the defenders into the field of play as soon as possible. Ensure that there is one judge each for each team who will record the number of the player who's number of the stroke taker. Okay. Normally, the shootout competition procedure will be decided during the tournament briefing by the TD, along with the UM, the Empire's manager, and the judges, and all technical officials. Okay. So as agreed in the meeting, by and as decided by the TD, the goal, which side the shootout should be taken, will be kept in mind. All right. So maybe as a TO, you will be in charge of managing the start time of the 8 seconds and of course it will be completed by the umpires. So you need to coordinate with the operating umpire to start the shootout, and after completion of the shootout, to get all details as recorded in the sheet by the judges. Okay, but two things we like to just inform you: never interfere with the umpire's decisions as a technical officer or judges. We have no say to interfere with the decision of the umpires for goals awarded or not awarded. You are there to ensure the procedure for taking of the shootout competition. Refrain from commenting anything on the shootout competition to the players, to the officials of the teams. Okay. Once this is done, make sure that the details are recorded as per the happening, and prepare the match report and get it signed. Okay. Then again, before we go to duties after the match, there are certain things which is required to be known as technical officials about the conduct of the match. Okay. Where and when can a technical officer stop a match? Or when can a technical officer or has the powers to stop a match? All right. So in case there is any misbehavior by the players inside the field, as technical officers, you cannot do anything unless and until action is taken by the umpires. But on bad weather conditions, especially during thunder and lightning, it is the sole responsibility of the technical officer to make sure that the match is stopped, because thunder and lightning together could be dangerous not only to the players, it could be dangerous to yourself, and it could be dangerous to the umpires. All right. And under no other circumstances can a technical officer stop a match. On other conditions like the ball not rolling, the heavy rain, uh, and then there is a, let's say there is some incident or accident in the field of play, it's all up to the umpires to decide whether to stop the match or not. Okay, but this is the only case or only situation where a technical officer can intervene and stop a match when there is thunder and lightning. All right. So then one more aspect of the technical officer will be to safeguard the umpires and help them to move out of the field of play in case of tense situation matches. We know as technical officers there might have been some bad calls by the umpires, which in their opinion was right, but the teams were not happy with that. And at the fag end of the match, you need to anticipate or you need to be proactive to say, yes, there's going to be a problem now. There going to be some barging on the umpires, and there's going to be some maybe some bad language on them, misbehavior by the team management on the umpires. So you need to be very proactive in this aspect to safeguard the umpires and bring them off the pitch to make sure that it doesn't go out of hands. Okay. To tell you very frankly, we have some situations where some of the empires had been manhandled soon after the match just because they had no support. As technical officers, you are responsible for the safety of the empires on the field. Not only on the field, even towards technical officials at the technical bench, the reserve empire. You need to be very, very proactive. That's why always we say the entire responsibility for the conduct of the match as per the rules and regulations lies on the technical officer. The TD depends on the technical officer in many aspects, especially the control aspect, in in controlling the in curtailing the misbehavior of the players and the team staff, and also to conduct the matches in a proper manner. Okay, so that is very important. So now, like to little bit help you all to know why we need a technical officer. It is for these reasons, because the umpires on the field of play can only implement the rules, but the regulations, the conduct, the misconduct by the players of the field cannot be done. So that is why a technical officer is very essential during a match. All right. So once all done, make sure that you go to the team managers as technical officers, thank the team managers for their cooperation, and this will help you to work better with them when you meet them in the next match. But never encourage the team managers to discuss any umpiring issues with you, because they may be right, and maybe you will give them the wrong answer, and it will become the other way around, that they might go back to the TD and empires manager and say that yes, your technical officer helped. You can ask the technical officer. He said no to the wrong decision. So never discuss anything. My intention of stressing this point is, after the match, never discuss anything. Never discuss anything with the team managers or coaches with regards to the umpiring issues. Umpires have done their job. They have done to their best of their abilities. Players, of course, any one of the team is definitely going to blame the umpires for that. So, but as a technical officer, you are you are there for both the teams, and you make sure that you don't commit anything against the umpire's decisions. You just ignore, or maybe you can always say, can you go back to can we have a talk with the can you have a talk with the empires manager or the TD, so that they could help you better in resolving your problem. So that's how we need to talk with them. Okay, so refrain. My what I'm insisting is refrain from making comments on the umpiring issues to anybody except to the TD, and in of course, if TD agrees, he will talk to the empires manager about the umpiring issues. Okay, so as a technical officer, you have to be very, very proactive. At the same time, be very supportive to the umpires who had umpired the match. Okay, so that's as far as the duties of the technical officers during the match is concerned. Okay, one more thing which I let you want to understand, make you understand is the substitution of the goalkeeper entirely is to be managed by the technical officer of the match. So because no substitution of the goalkeeper is done after a time stop, draw the attention of the closest operating umpire, uh, and ensure that the time is stopped, and field goalkeeper is comes off the field before you permit this guy before you permit the substitute goalkeeper going inside. All right, so this is a little bit of management issue, but which you can do it once you know the procedure. All right. Okay. Why we say technical officers are very important is there are many issues which the TD would like to hear from the technical officer of a match, because he is a most active technical official during a match. Of course, the judges are also there, but they will be more endorsed in keeping a record of the time and uh, different activities of the goal scorers, and then the cards received and all that. But as a technical officer, you need to be aware that anything happening on the field of play, anything in the sense, any off the ball situations where there could be a player clash, where could be a assault by a player to another player, where there could be a tripping by a player to another player. All this is responsibility of the technical officer. In the sense, you just cannot say I did not see it or I don't know it happened. As a technical officer, you are bound to have seen that. In the sense, you are responsible for off the ball situation. Always keep an eye on the off the ball whenever the game is playing in the far end. Because if the ball is playing in the far end, sometimes you see the operating umpire inside the circle, and then the trailing umpire will be somewhere in the 23 meters, and there's a clash of players in the midfield. So these situations are very, very sensitive situations where the umpires cannot be blamed for not having seen. But as a technical officer, you are bound to have seen these incidents and make a report about the incident with all details of the time of the incident, the short numbers of the players who had caused the problem or were involved in the issue, to make a report. If there was cards issued, no problem, then you will definitely find a reason on that. But if the cards were not issued and the umpires had missed it out and nobody had seen it, but the team managers has have seen that and they have noted it down, and before they bring it to the knowledge of the TD, as a TO, you need to inform the TD that at this point of time, at this time, there I have seen so and so players brush against each other or assault each other or something like that. So this off the ball situation, you must keep your eyes on off the ball situation. As a TO, you are responsible for that. You just cannot show yourself away. Okay. Another very important aspect is the number of players on the pitch. Okay. And let me tell you, gentlemen, this can happen to anybody. It could happen to me, it could happen to you tomorrow, it could happen to anybody else. In the topmost guys can miss it out. Yeah. Why I need to why I want to stress this on this is how to get over this. All right. So always be very active or very cautious when the substitution take place. Make sure that you keep counting the players on the pitch. On 2 or 3 occasions, you might notice within the 7 minutes of the start of the game, there could be your entire substitution is completed. You will find five players coming inside and moving inside. But once the substitution is complete, make sure you count the number of players there or on the field of play. And during injury, at the time of injury, you will definitely find at the far end, if there is an injury, you will find that player moving away from there and there's already a player inside. You may not have noticed that, but team management, it could be an error. It could be an error, but the team management would have thought otherwise, that there's a player come out and nobody has gone inside, so they may push in another player. So which makes more than the required number of players in the field of play. All right, and one was that incident is about during time of injury. Another one after the issue of card. When a card was issued, or just before issuing a card, a player wants to be substituted inside, but the person coming out, or the player coming out, has been carded. So this person, the substitute player, cannot go inside. But out of sight, this player would have gone inside. So when the player has been suspended, there should have been one less. But at this point of time, you still find that the full complements, the team is playing with full complements. Where it should have been playing, a team should have been playing with 10 players, has still playing with 11 players, which proves that there was no suspension. So if there is a suspension, there should be 10 players, but be very careful that you do not permit the substitute player to go inside before completion of suspension. So you need to count. You need to count. Always keep the track of the number of players on the field of play every time. Because the reason is, if there are more number of persons, if there are more number of players than the permissible uh, level to being played, and if a goal is scored, and it's going to create a lot of problems. So always keep track of the number of players on the field of play. Okay, so that was two important things that I wanted to stress, was keep the count of the number of players on the field of play, and then make sure that you keep an eye on the off the ball situations, uh, which may even lead to suspension of players uh, based on the report, or maybe based on some video footing which may be later submitted to the TD. All right. So these two important things we need to be as technical officers to be make sure that things don't get out of hand, and which will also help the teams when they look forward to you, and they make sure that okay, we have a technical officer who will help us to play the game. All right. So that was a little bit on the technical officers uh, thing. Now we will go to the duties after the match. So, as a technical officer, I said, although the judges will be doing their job, and you have the some of you have your confidence on the judges, but still you need to make a check on the match report for the correct entries of the goal scorers, the cards received, and the number of goals scored, etc., etc. Okay. In case after you check the match report and still you find there is a complaint from one of the team managers that no, it was not number 7 who scored the second goal, it was number 9, and if if this can be confirmed by the team manager, you still can change the goal scorer. Okay, but you need to inform the concerned persons, like maybe the media officer, or maybe of course you need to inform the TD immediately that there was a change in the goal scorer's number, so that the necessary amendments can be made to the media guy, so the wrong goal scorer doesn't go there. Okay, so this you have to keep that in mind, that there is nothing wrong in changing the correct entry rather than sticking on to the wrong one. Okay, so after just checking the match report with for all the details, with regards to this, you need to supervise the signing of the match report by the team managers first, the umpires, then the judges, and the reserve umpire, and then sign it yourself before you hand it over to the TD. Okay. So before you finish off with the after you finish up with the match report, maybe you can take up the card registration to get the correct reason from the umpires for having issued a yellow card, so that they can be incorporated in the card registration form, which we will we'll discuss about it tomorrow, and then submit it to the TO. Okay. So soon after the match is over, make sure you collect all the technical equipments and or take the assistance of the judges to collect all the technical equipment, including the captain band, armbands, etc., whatever has been given, and prepare the table for the next match. Okay. Right. So here and again the most then again we have a very important thing for a technical officer is, as I told you, to keep the time of completion of the match, the clock time of the completion of the match is in case there's a protest. So we need you need to know the procedure for how a protest is lodged by a team manager. Okay. So it's a very in simple terms. He will have to sign the match report for the match they have played. But if he wants to protest, he has to make his intentions by saying that under protest below his signature. Okay, or maybe on the match report or on the shootout competition if you're not happy with what has happened. Okay, and then he must give a written protest within 10 minutes of the match, and make the necessary deposit towards the protest fees. Okay, so all this should be done under your supervision. Okay, so if the protest is lodged, then you need to gather all the information required for the reason of the protest. Maybe you can get it orally from the team manager and then inform the TD immediately, who in turn will start preparing for the procedure to be followed when the protest is lodged. So he might ask you for your feedback, or he might ask to give you your opinion on the issue about the protest, and then he may take a call. Okay, so this is where you need to be very careful when when the protest is lodged. So the procedure for the protest should be always kept in mind. All right. So as I told you, report immediately any protest to the TD and make a personal note of your views upon the incident, as it may be that you will be called for to give evidence. For why I'm telling you is, if there's a protest and then they will be called for evidence, is that the TD makes sure that nothing goes wrong inside, and he's not on the wrong side, on the wrong foot when he makes a decision. Okay. That as I had already told you, comment the umpiring of the match to the TD exclusively. So other than the TD, we should not be commenting anything on the umpiring issues to anybody else. Okay. Yeah. Then the TD might ask you, because as a TO you have been engrossed in the match for the full 70 minutes, and you know the in and out of the what has been the umpiring level, or what has been the standard of umpiring, uh, and how the teams had benefited from the umpiring, all this. So the TD might ask, may call you for marking the umpires, and also in taking your assistance for making the appointments for the next day. Okay, so these are a few things which I think I must have covered entirely as technical officers. So you will enjoy the game very much like the umpires. Once you start working as technical officers, and this is a really interesting job. Uh, as far as I'm concerned, I did enjoy my career as a TO, especially when we are working with different types of team managers. Mm, and yeah, different type in the sense, some are really good, some are arrogant, because yeah, when they start to lose, they become arrogant, and then they they want to put pressure on the empires. Okay, so anyway, that's it from me today. Thank you very much for attending this session on technical officers. Looking forward to see you tomorrow again. uh, uh, Over to you, Malay Megam. Hello. 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 Oh, okay, okay. Let me check. Let me check. Okay. All right. Okay. There are a few couple of questions which have been asked. So let me try to help you out in that. The question is, if a shot at goal that would have been missed hits the umpire and deflects into the goal box, is this a goal or not? And what action is taken by the umpire? Oh, it's a good question. Okay. Yeah, if it's a shot at goal, but still it's missed and deflects off umpire and goes into the goal, it is a goal, because the reason is an umpire also is a part and parcel of the field of play. So he's also something like an object on the field of play. And so any deflection from him, and if it goes into the goal, it should be a goal. Okay, the next question is, can one of the team players act as the team manager? Can TD permitted? No, no, no. This cannot be done. Is if, for example, if the team has 18 players and they don't have a manager, they and they have no choice to make a team player as a manager, so they still play with only 17 players. So that can be permitted, subject to the entry form is amended accordingly with a written request to the TD stating that the team manager is not available or not come. So we want to change the team player to a team manager, and if permitted by the TD, it has to be done, because the reason is you can still play with 17 players, but you cannot play without a team manager. So I think that's okay. For me, it's okay. You just help them to play their game. Okay. Socks also same color is mandatory. Yeah, your question about socks is not very clear. It should not be of the same color of the teams. The socks of the both the teams should be different in color, or let's say contrast. The contrast, it should be very very contrast in the sense, for example, maroon and red, and black and navy blue, they will clash. So it should be different. How many substitutions in a match? There's no limit to the number of substitutions in a match, so there's no issue about that. Total number of officials is TO regarded official. Yes, the total number of officials for a match is 2 judges and 1 technical officer. So they constitute technical officials. So normally we say technical officials include judges and TOs. That is the thing. Okay, who takes the final decision on Thunder? There was net problem, so I couldn't hear clearly. Oh, good. Sorry about that. The when during thunder and lightning, it is the decision of the technical officer to stop a match. So the final decision on thunder and lightning will be decided by the technical officer of the match. Who is appointed all referees in empire of the match? Okay, all appointments for a match is done from the panel of umpires and technical officers appointed for the tournament, and this is done by the TD. This is done by the TD, the technical delegate or the tournament director, who appoints the umpires and the technical officers or technical officials for the match. During running the match, match referee can stop the match or not. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not clear on this question. I didn't understand. During running the match, match referee can stop the match or not? Yeah, but why not? Why a match umpire cannot stop the match? He can stop the match for any incidents, any accidents, any unforeseen events, and he can stop the match when the pitch is in an unplayable condition, or for any reason if he thinks it is not worth playing, or the pitch is not worth playing. Okay, yeah. Are we having some more questions coming up? Okay, I got a lot of questions here. Okay. Okay, there's a question from Anil Kumar. Can team manager change the player from playing 11 already given by him? Oh, why? Okay, yeah. The team manager can change the playing 11 10 minutes before the start of the game if he really wants to change, because during the warm up there could be an injury, and the player may not be able to play. So he can change the playing 11, but it should be within 10 minutes. The procedure will be very simple. The technical officer will make the necessary changes in the starting 11, but he will inform the team managers of the opponent team also. Okay, if a team manager goes in between of the tournament, whether team can continue to play the rest of the match. Yeah, this depends on the situation of why the team manager has left the team during the you said during the tournament. In between the tournament, yeah, they have to find another manager for the rest of the matches. If not without him, if not without him, maybe somebody else can be nominated as a team manager uh, with uh, with the necessary permission from the TD. Yeah. Okay. Anil Kumar has asked a question: can a technical officer send out a coach? Oh, yeah, really? Can he? Yeah. Yeah. Yes, a technical officer has the right to send out a coach, or maybe he can take him off the from the team bench, subject to his misbehavior. As per the regulations, he can only advise the team manager to inform the coach that now enough is enough. Now you have to leave the technical bench. He will be escorted by uh, somebody from the organizing side to be taken off from the team bench and kept in the changing room. Okay. Uh, okay. There's a question in the chat in the WhatsApp. Yeah. Okay. I think that's it. I don't have any more questions here. Uh, okay. Thank you, guys. Thank you for your participation. Yeah, there is a question from Azhar Hussein. If there is any misconduct on the team bench, then who can show the card to them? Oh, okay, very good. That's a good question, Hussein. Rightly asked. Normally, there is no card issued to the team management at the team bench. Its only thing is that we advise the umpires to stop the match, or even without stopping the match, we just call the concerned player or concerned member of the team to just leave the team bench and just take him off the field of play and keep him in a place inside in the changing room or out of the stadium. Okay. Normally, a card is not shown to any of the team management members, uh, but you just need to escort them off the field of play and make a detailed report to the to the TD about the incident and why this player was why this person was asked to leave the field of play. Okay. Can technical officer send out coach during the match? Yeah, yeah, he can. The technical officer also has the rights, also has the rights to pull off the coach from the team bench area for his bad behavior. Yes, he can. What is the minimum number of minimum players? Okay, Sophie Mustaq. Thank you very much for this question. Now we don't have anything called the minimum number of players required to start a match. Previously, I think if I remember, it was some around 7 players required on the field of play to start a match. But now the regulations do not are silent, or rather to say it is they are silent with regards to the minimum number of players required to start a match. Hello, Megam. Madam. Hello. Okay, there's a question about the international tournament. They said goal after halftime. Goal after halftime when we came back and it was said, okay, maybe there was a video referral. Maybe there was a video referral, and that's why that goal was called off. Okay. Can a TO intervene in a match between to stop a game with a specific cause of testing the level of water? No, no, no. This cannot be done. The TO cannot stop the match in between due to less water on the field. It is the umpires who will stop the match and may ask for more water on the field of play. Okay. All right. Yes, madam.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Really, it was a informative session to all. I extend my heartfelt thanks to Mr. Moni for this detailed presentation on job description of the technical officer. Thank you very much for answering to the queries to the participants, sir.
Yeah.
I'm sure that it will be very useful to all of us. And my sincere thanks to all the participants as well. Hope to meet you all tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
ma'am. Thank you. Okay, I'll leave.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
செஷன் முடிஞ்சிருச்சு இப்ப என்னப்பா பண்றீங்க ஃபாலோ பண்றீங்களா இல்லையா ஆமா முடிஞ்சிருச்சு அப்படியே நீங்க நிக்கிறாரு என்ன பண்றீங்க இப்போ பாத்தியா? ஆமா ஆமா. சிலருக்கு தான் வந்து ஹாக்கி தெரியாதவங்க இல்ல பேசிக்ல இருக்கிறவங்களுக்கு தான் புரியல அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு நிறைய பேர் லிங்க் லிங்க் யூஸ் பண்ணியா சேட் பாக்ஸ்ல? ஏய் நான் ஆல்ரெடி சொன்னேன் சேட் பாக்ஸ்ல லிங்க் இருக்கு, நீங்க எடுத்து அட்டன் பண்ணுங்க அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு அசைன்மெண்ட். இல்ல ஓப்பன்ல தான் இருக்கு சேட் பாக்ஸ்ல. ஆ